Hi, thank you all for being here today. Namaste and happy Diwali to everyone joining in today. Uh, so when we think of Diwali, we often think of lights, the lamps glowing in every corner, the scent of sweets, the sound of laughter. But for me, the true light of Diwali has always been the stories. I still remember like sitting beside my grandmother as she told stories of Hanuman leaping across the ocean or Krishna's playful tricks that always carried a deeper wisdom. I didn't realize it back then, but she wasn't just telling stories, she was teaching me courage, devotion, and faith. And those stories stayed with me. They became a quiet voice that guided my choice, shaped my values, and connected me to something bigger, to my roots. Today, as parents and teachers and caregivers, we carry the same torch. The way we tell stories, the books we choose, the time we spend reading by ourselves and with our children, these are the threads that weave identity, value, and belonging for our children. Let's start with something simple. Why reading still matters. We live in a world of constant scrolling, short clips, fast swipes, endless information. But reading does something completely different. When a child reads, they feel, they imagine, they slow down. Reading builds empathy because every story lets a child step into someone else's shoes. Reading builds that focus because it asks for attention, not reaction like the screen. Reading builds reflection because it creates space to think and wonder. I often say screens give information, but stories give imagination. As a parent and consultant, I've seen this time and again. Just 10 minutes of shared reading can shift the energy in a house. Children open up, ask deeper questions, and start connecting values to real life. In a time where we are always in a hurry, reading is a beautiful pause button. Now let's go a little deeper. In India, stories were never entertainment, they were education from the times of the Gurukul system. Our grandparents, our gurus, were our first moral teachers. They didn't say be kind or be brave, they showed it through the stories they told us and the way they lived. These stories, passed from generation to generation, were the original curriculum of character and culture. Because somewhere along the way, we've started losing that. Globalization, the screen culture, and the rush of modern life have diluted that storytelling bond. Yet every time we tell a story from our heritage, we give our children something precious, a sense of identity. They see themselves as heroes who look like them, speak their language, or share their world. The connection to roots builds confidence. It gives them that pride and belonging, things every child needs to grow into a grounded adult. Let's now talk about mythology because that's where timeless wisdom truly lies. Mythology is not about gods and demons, it's about choices, the consequences, and the courage. Every story has a lesson that's as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Let's look at a few. Rama teaches us integrity. He reminds us to do the right thing even when it's hard in a world that's often rewards shortcuts. Rama teaches patience and purpose. Krishna, he embodies joy and wisdom. His mischief wasn't random, it was always purposeful. He reminds our children that playfulness and purpose can coexist. Lakshmi, she teaches gratitude and effort. True abundance doesn't come from luck, but from gratitude, discipline, and hard work and respect. Kali, she shows us strength and courage. She's the fierce love that protects what's right. A reminder that sometimes gentleness alone isn't enough. Hanuman, he teaches devotion and humility. He's powerful yet humble, strong yet selfless. These stories aren't just mythological, mythic tales, they are emotional maps for life. It teaches us resilience, loyalty, purpose. Which of these values do you think children today most need to reconnect with? You know, when I think about it, resilience really stands out to me. In our modern world where everything moves fast, children often see instant results. Our myths remind them that even the greatest heroes had setbacks. Rama faced exile, Krishna faced doubt, Hanuman faced impossibility, yet each rose again with courage and grace. They never gave up. These stories show that failure isn't final, it's formative. You learn from your failures. Loyalty, too, like that steadfast sense of belonging to something larger than ourselves. It's not just about you. So, whether it's Rama's friendship with Hanuman or Arjuna's devotion to Dharma, they show us that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, is what defines true strength and purpose, perhaps the greatest gift we can offer our children. Mythology doesn't just tell them what happened, it shows why it mattered. Each story is a gentle reminder that we are all here for a reason, and that even small acts, a small promise kept, a kindness that is shown, can change the world around us. So, when I began writing the Mystic India for Kids series, it was my intention. It began as me writing and telling these stories to my own children, to bring these lessons to life in a way that children can feel them, not just hear about them, to show that mythology isn't an ancient history, but it's a living wisdom. I wanted to write stories that didn't preach but invited curiosity, that didn't overwhelm but inspired reflection. So, in each book, it is a retelling of our traditional stories in an age appropriate and engaging language, keeping the heart of the myth intact but also having parallel stories, reflection questions, reflection points, and moral values, connecting it to modern lessons. These stories are designed to spark conversation between parents and children and to gently plant seeds of kindness, courage, and wisdom. Because when a story touches a child's heart, it becomes a part of their inner world, it becomes a part of their values forever. So, how can we as adults bring this magic back into today's daily life? Here are a few simple but powerful ways. Make reading sacred, not optional. Even 10 minutes of bedtime reading can create lasting memories. And in most cases, psychology and statistics do tell us that what kids listen just before they go to sleep is retained, it's in their memory, and they have it with them forever. And then connect stories to real life. When your child, say, shares a toy or helps a friend, say, oh, that's what Krishna did in that story, or that's what Rama did when this happened. Ask open ended questions. What would you do if you were Rama in this situation? Or or what makes Hanuman brave? Why do you think he's brave? And as we close, I want to leave you with this thought. We can't always control the world our children grow up in, but we can give them the stories that guide them through it. So, this Diwali, let's light not just our homes, but our hearts and our children's minds with stories that remind them who they are, where they come from, and what they can become. Because stories don't just entertain, they shape character, anchor identity, and nurture belonging. So, thank you for being here, for believing in the power of stories, and for keeping our roots alive for the next generation. So, these are some statistics on the impact of reading on development. Engaging with stories enhances children's growth and emotional intelligence significantly. It increases empathy through reading, and it improves their focus and attention span, because for reading a book, you need to sit in a place, maybe listen to somebody reading it to you or read it yourself. Unlike screens where there is no requirement for an attention span at all because you're just scrolling through. Thank you once again, and I love to hear your thoughts. What story shaped your childhood? Or what values do you hope your children will carry from the stories that you're reading to them or the stories that they read? And if you are interested in the Mystic India for Kids series, my books, you can find them on Amazon globally and in India through a platform called Poti. And the links to all these and all the books that are in the series and some of my son's books, they can all be found on my website or through Instagram. Thank you. I hope you reach out to me and we keep this conversation going. Thank you once again and happy Diwali. Here is a small showcase of my Mystic India for Kids series. It is now grown to 6 books, and these stories are based out of the Indian Hindu mythological stories, but then they are not just religious stories, but they are timeless tales that are filled with themes and values that kids can relate to today, like courage, kindness, patience, creativity, and resilience. And the way I have written these stories are all stories have reflection questions, moral values, a parallel story to help kids of today, no matter which faith they belong to be able to connect to these stories. So this is a book about based out of Krishna stories. This one's about Rama and Hanuman, about their dedication, the kind of friendship and loyalty between Rama and Hanuman. These are stories about Ayyappa, Maniganda, um, and these are stories based from Lord Ganesha. And the Shakti in you is uh, basically talks about the 9 versions or 9 avatars of Lord Durga, which is celebrated during the 9 days of Navratri, and each depicts a character or a value trait like courage, kindness, never give up, resilience, things like that. And the latest in the series is the Lights of Diwali. So, and this basically has uh, origin of why Diwali is celebrated in India, depending on which part of India you come from. But they also have like reflection stories or parallel stories for today. And for example, uh, the first story, the usual story that most people know of as the reason why Diwali is celebrated, is Rama's return to Ayodhya, which is celebrated as a festival of lights. So long, long ago, in a golden city of Ayodhya, there lived Prince Ram. Everyone loved him. He was brave, gentle, and always fair. Children ran to greet him. Mothers blessed him, and the elders admired his wisdom. But before Rama could be crowned king, he had to leave his palace behind. A promise made by his father sent Rama into the forest for 14 long years. His wife Sita and his loyal brother Lakshmana went with him. Life in the forest was not easy. They slept under the stars, ate simple food, and faced many dangers. Yet Rama never complained. We must honor our duty, he said, and his calm strength gave Sita and Lakshmana courage. But one day the peace of the forest was broken. The mighty king Ravana kidnapped Sita and carried her far away in his golden chariot. Rama's heart ached, but he did not give up. With the help of Hanuman and his monkey friends, Rama built a bridge across the sea, fought bravely, and brought Sita safely home. At last, after 14 years, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana began their journey back to Ayodhya. The people of the city were overjoyed. Our Rama is coming home, they shouted. But the night was dark and the roads were hard to see. We must help them find their way, the people said. So each family placed tiny clay lamps outside their homes. Soon thousands of glowing lights lined the streets. Ayodhya sparkled like a blanket of stars. When Rama entered the city, he looked around in wonder. Lights glowed on every wall, every doorway, and every corner. His people's love shone brighter than the moon. Tears filled his eyes. This is the greatest welcome I could ever receive, Rama whispered. That night became the first Diwali, the festival of lights. It was not only about Rama's homecoming, it was about hope, love, the truth that light will always chase away the dark. And what's the lesson in the story? Lighting a lamp is a way of saying, even in darkness, we choose kindness, love, and hope. And here is a story uh, to connect the children today to show them how this matters for them. Maya sat in her new bedroom hugging her knees. Tomorrow would be her first day at a new school. What if no one talks to me? She whispered. The next morning she walked into a class, her hands trembling. But then something wonderful happened. A boy waved. Hi, I'm Sam. Want to sit here? He said. At lunch, a girl scooted over on the bench. Come sit with us. By the end of the day, Maya was laughing, trading snacks, and feeling at home. Later that week, Maya noticed another new student sitting alone. She remembered how Sam and the other classmates had welcomed her, and she walked over. Hi, want to join us? She asked with a smile. The new student's eyes lit up. Yes, thank you. Maya realized something special. Lighting lamps was not just about shining lights outside, it was about warmth and kindness we share inside. That evening, she told her mom, I was nervous, but I helped someone else feel welcome. I felt like a light turned on inside me too. Mom smiled. That's what Diwali teaches us. We are we can all be that light, that little light for somebody else, someone else. Reflection story. Reflection question. How could you help? How could you who can you help feel safe and welcome? Maybe a new classmate, a neighbor, or even a sibling. So all my stories have either reflection questions or parallel stories like this to basically make the children understand and convey that these mythologies are not just stories, but they are living wisdom that they can use in their daily lives. Thank you.